So Nadine, let's start with you. There is a lot of pressure for Black creatives to be representative of our people somehow, some way,
Right.
under the view of public scrutiny. And all of you ladies are taking a creative approach to talk about some things that we either don't talk about and need to talk about a lot more, hidden history, or the fact that you have been very purposeful in taking a very creative approach to talk about history or to show us a different perspective on how Black life and Black culture can merge with classics and these kinds of things. Talk about how you've developed your creative vision as a filmmaker.
So I'm very proud to label myself as a Black filmmaker. For me, that's a badge of excellence. To be Black and to survive in America means you've got to be really, really good at whatever it is that you do. Okay? Okay. So I am a Black American filmmaker, and wherever I go, I am treated with reverence and respect, except in my own country. Right? Whether I'm in Sydney, Australia, I get respect.
Right.
If I'm in London, England, I get respect. If I'm in Paris, France, I get respect.
Yes.
If I'm in Burkina Faso, at FESPACO, I'm interviewed on television and I'm speaking in French, I get respect, okay? I just don't get it here in America by the majority culture.
Right.
But I do get that respect and appreciation from people like you, from my friends, from my family, from my colleagues in Philadelphia are very supportive. And people like Yolanda and Tatiana inspire me to be a better filmmaker. So in terms of my perspective as a Black American filmmaker, all right, yes. I mean, I carry the torch that my mother and my father and Sister Sonia and Tony K. Bambara lit.
That's right.
I carry that torch, and I carry it to the next generation of people who come. So whether, and, you know, and a baby filmmaker could be somebody in their 50s or somebody who's 14, right? A teenage filmmaker could be somebody in their 40s, or there's somebody who's 84.
Yes.
Okay? So, you know, I'm about sharing the culture and sharing the knowledge that I've gained. So that's my mission. And in terms of how Black culture intersects with global culture, and it intersects with Aboriginal Islander culture in terms of dance.
Yes.
It intersects with a Latino and Brazilian culture in terms of music, as we were just hearing, and it intersects with European culture in terms of Shakespeare, in terms of ballet, and also in terms of, you know, architecture and design. So my culture intersects with the world in so many ways that I have a wellspring of inspiration. I will never get bored as a filmmaker. I will always have something amazing and awesome to do.
Yes.
And to share. So I'm very proud to be a Black filmmaker, and I'm very proud to work at that intersection of art, culture, and history.
Absolutely. Tatiana.
Yes, Stephanie.
You talked about, you know, baby filmmaker comment aside, because we teased you about that enough. The idea of creating vehicles, I want you to speak about, because, for more than one reason. You telling the story of Ulrike, people need to understand that there are huge Hollywood folks who have tried to get projects funded and greenlit in a variety of capacities that haven't happened. And because this is Haitian culture, we need to mention that one of those projects that took forever and still has not been widely released theatrically is Danny Glover's attempt to tell the story of Toussaint Louverture, right? So when you think about the idea that Danny Glover, behind the story of Toussaint, couldn't get made in the way he envisioned it, Whoopi Goldberg signing on as an executive producer to bring For Colored Girls to Broadway, finally couldn't get off the runway. The idea of deciding purposefully to tell your culture, to tell your history, and to tell this story is important. And besides the feature film that we're talking about today, you've also created a vehicle for your daughter.
Yes.
So I want you to speak about filling in the gaps of places where we are not seen and heard.
Yes. Did you have a adjustment?
I just wanted to say that there is a 3-hour French production of Toussaint Louverture that was done for $6 million in Martinique. Now, Danny Glover had $18 million from the leader of Venezuela who passed away.
Right.
But he said that $18 million was not enough money to do his film on Toussaint Louverture.
Right.
And that difference is because of consciousness, I believe. For Black Hollywood, 18 million is not enough. For us, it would be enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just want to say
Yes,
that.
thank you. Thank you. No, that's important.
have a whole series of movies.
Very important.
$6 million, 3-hour French television, theatrical release worldwide, versus 18 million, not quite enough. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I say that.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't intend to be a filmmaker. I didn't intend to be an actor. I don't know what I thought I was going to be when I grew up. I would like to think that this is my final incarnation of my career. I have worked in emergency response for an airline for 5 years, so I've done it. But the weird thing happens when you decide that you want to do something and there's no table and there's no lane and you don't see yourself. And, you know, I have a beautiful 13-year-old who's been helping out here. She's in the back in the kitchen right now, Leilani.
Just come out. People can see you. Come on out. Just walk your walk, girl. Walk your walk. Walk it. There's Leilani. Hello.
So I will say, because Stephanie brought it up, along with Ulrich, one of the projects I've been working on for many years and have been in like extended development is a show called On the Job with Lonnie Liu. And the reason I created that show is because I had a very precocious, bright child who was killing me with questions. I was newly divorced. I was just trying to figure out my way. I think I had just been laid off from a consulting job. And when we started, there were no role models, no girls of color. I think Dora the Explorer was the only one on television. And PBS Kids does an incredible job with early childhood education shows. And then the kids fall off the cliff into hijinks and nonsense. And in my household, I'm pretty strict. So when I was seeing what she was being offered, I was like, you can't do any of this stuff in the real world. And I remember telling her, like, you can't throw a whoopie pie at your principal, right?
Right.
And she said, yeah. And I said, you know why? And she said, it's messy. I said, no, it's assault. like, what are we? I mean, I know we grew up, many of us, with Tom and Jerry, but when I became a media maker or media consumer or a parent, I just became more conscious. And so we were watching Dancing with the Stars when she was about 3. And she said, Mommy, I'm not as beautiful as those women. Look, if you get offered a kid like I did, somebody told me a long time ago, I'm not here to teach her anything. She is here to teach me. Counter to the West Indian narrative that I was taught, because I was like, girl, you better be right. A lot of us were raised with don't talk back. Kids should be seen and not heard. And I had this remarkable mind in my house that wasn't seeing herself in the world. And so what I realized was I could pair her with experts in their field to have her ask the questions that I didn't know the answers to. And what I wanted her to do was then ask them, well, if you're going to ask them a question like what's the hiccup for her pediatrician, then you should find out what it takes to become a pediatrician. And we're really blessed to have one of the people that she got to interview in the back of the room, David Wilcox, who I call a black unicorn.
Paleo Dave. Paleo Dave.
And I will tell you how crazy things are that work really quickly. Dave came out to support Nadine's film Tango Macbeth.
Yes.
At the risk.
And
Thank you for all you came, by the way.
And we ended up at the after event in an Asian restaurant. I don't know if it was Chinese, Japanese, whatever. It was an Asian restaurant, and we shut it down. So there was whoever was left in the restaurant We're black people or Asian people. And someone said I'm a paleontologist. And I said, what? I about leftover people.
Yeah.
I was like, I need your card.
Yeah.
Because if I've never seen it in the world, our children have definitely not seen it in the world. And they're not seeing it reflected in media. And so we've been able to interview Dave or Leilani. Leilani does all the interviews.
Leilani!
The show is based on her curiosity. So each episode is a question that she has been wondering about. She has to ask something about how the world works, and she has to ask how you become that kind of expert. We've been able to go on a dig with Dave and take 2 other little girls. So they've been on their first paleobotanical dig. But what Steph, and I heard someone say to me yesterday at a very shishi breakfast for corporate peoples, I talked about my show, and the guy said, that's brilliant. And my thing is now, stop telling me it's brilliant and give me some money.
Come on with it.
Because my brilliance and $5, I might get a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
So for me, I build worlds. I'm not a shooter. I can shoot. I edit out a lot of this stuff. We had some people help out with. I'm doing the best I can. And I will continue to push it uphill and try to raise her and not lose my mind and try to remember self-care. But the reality is, honestly, since you're here and you're listening, if this is our collective story, it's our collective responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
If we are not happy with what we're seeing out there, if we're not happy with the way our children are behaving, if we are not able to step in for the men that have been incarcerated wrongfully, what's happening to their children, who are the people standing in space for them to show them who they can be, what their history is. So for me, it was like, these stories have not been told. There is no media for these kids that reflects positivity, that shows people of color in a positive light that have a STEM degree, some of them with an advanced degree. Yes, we will interview trash men. If you love your job as a trash man and that's what you wanted to do and you do it well, we will interview you. But we see trash men and trash women daily. We don't see black paleontologists.
Nope.
We don't see black astronomers. And so that is, for me, I look in the space and I'm committed to create, I'm gonna say this on camera, on Facebook Live, I am committed to creating a web series around David Wilcott's paleontologist.
Yes, yes.
Because we don't see it. He's an environmental scientist who does paleontology in his spare time. But we need to see more of that. And so whether you are funding my project, Yolanda's project, Nadine's project, the other people, Joss's project, Ebony, I don't know what you're working on, but I know there are other filmmakers and indie people. Give money, give time, use your space, talk about it. Please become our brand ambassadors. Hire Dave. You know, when people say buy black, hey, we're black.
We're very black.
Don't buy me, but give money so we can build these worlds.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yolanda.
Yes.
I'll cry.
There's a lot, and I'm going to try to keep my part brief because I really want you, as the newest filmmaker on our panel. I have a buddy from my spoken word days named Bossy Ikpi. Okay. As a spoken word artist, she did extremely well. Was invited to join the cast of Def Poetry Jam on Broadway. And as that show was closing on Broadway and preparing to do a global tour, is when she had her first breakdown. Was diagnosed as bipolar 1. And we often hear, most of the people that we hear about are diagnosed as bipolar 2. So there's no telling how long she was living with it growing up as a Nigerian American. And spending her childhood in Oklahoma. Until it finally manifested itself in the midst of what should have been her most glorious time professionally up to that point. She went home to her family in Nigeria to regroup and learned about the massive amounts of untreated mental illness that ends in suicide. And has started a nonprofit called the Seaway Project, which is to provide support for young people, teenagers in particular, who are suffering mental illness, and support for their families to try and figure out how to dig out of it. And she is releasing her first book, or actually, I think it just came out a week or two ago.
Okay.
So this has become her mission. She is no longer performing. This work
Mm-hmm.
about raising awareness and building support is now her life's work.
Kudos.
Your film is going to reach a whole new audience of people that do not feel comfortable talking about this. And this is a tender spot for you because we're talking about your son.
Yeah.
So what was the tipping point for you to say that not only am I in the process of healing enough to try and tell this story, but that I want to do it on film?
Well, around the age of 8, Elijah, I've always loved, I'm an only child. So movies and music were my best friends growing up. You know, when I had my children, I noticed that they like movies too. So Christmas time, everyone got movies. This particular Christmas that Elijah turned 9 that year, I noticed that he didn't like scary movies. So we gotta fix that because I love scary movies. So I bought Resident Evil 13 Ghosts and something else.
Oh my gosh.
We sat down together
Oh my gosh.
and watched them. He said, I stopped the movie, Googled the person's name. Oh, they did 3 movies after this. Oh, wow, what was that? That was corn syrup and noodles or something, you know? Oh, so let's fast forward to his next birthday, 10 years old. Oh, Mom, I watched Phantasm. That was so corny. I can make better special effects. I can do better than that. So there was Sony Vegas Pro, the Vine, all these different things he started doing. So, you know, for me, it was natural. You know, I had to really think about it. And I said, well, maybe I was a filmmaker all along. I was a teenage mom at 19. So there were things that were suppressed in me. You know, my foray into the arts started with music. You know, I sang in middle school all the way through high school, you know, and film for me was just a natural, my friend, you know. Yes. And for Elijah, I noticed that he was the same way. I know you have a friend who, let's say your best friend, and there's something happens and you both break out into the same song, this little happy dance song. Well, that was Elijah and I with movie quotes. Yeah. You know, we would walk into a room or in a situation, he would say something and I would, yes, you know, but have you counted them? But have you named them? That was from the Count of Monte Cristo and the lines on the wall or something. He said, I've counted them. He said, but have you named them? You know, so different situations like that. And I knew that he had an inclination for movies. I would take him to Black Star Film Festivals. He went to Digital Art Media Arts Academy with the Drexel campus for 2 weeks before high school. He went to Scribe. For their youth documentary history project, you know, in 2009. So 2 months after he passed, it was just, I'll say that I have not been in control of any of this. And not to get but I have to tell you a few things that are not made specific in the movie. Elijah did this 2 days before my birthday. The week of my birthday it happened. In New York City, the address of the hotel was 215 West 94th Street. 215 is our area code, and 94 was the year his father and I were divorced. The hotel room was 1301. If you take the 1 and put it in the front, that's 1103. His father's birthday is November 3rd. So on the way home from New York, because I got the call the day before my birthday, on that following Monday, we traveled to New York to collect his belongings. And I know on the way back, I was just hysterical in the car, like da-da-da-da. And his father kept saying, you're being hysterical. And I turned to him and said, well, the birthday was the room, your birthday was the room number. He went, he got quiet. Because I'm like, I was like, Elijah, are you talking to me? You know, and from day one, the way things have happened, I got the scholarship to go to Scribe Video Center to for their inaugural Film Scholars Program, where we learned everything from cameras to sound to lighting. It was, I think, a group of 10 of us, maybe, not more than 10, and we all exchanged, we all worked with each other. Actually, Jamil? Okay, Jamil,
got people.
he was in my
Got
class.
people.
He was one of my classmates. Yes. And he also completed a short documentary throughout that class. And there's And there's Nikki Harmon, who's our first year. And she actually Scribe Video Center. Yes. So
Yes, sorry, I had it.
you know, and I also got the Leeway grant, one of the Leeway Art for Change grants, and I was able
yes.
to complete the 15-minute version at Scribe Video Center with the help of the Leeway Foundation. I've expanded to 25 minutes, which I just submitted for a Black Star. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out on the 24th of May. And I'm funding to try to do a longer version because of the things that I just shared with you about all the Plus, there are still belongings that the police confiscated that they have. I have the voucher numbers in the court. You know, I don't know how to navigate the court system in New York to get what is it called? Estate, something about his estate to be able to use the vouchers to get things. So, and you know, I've always loved New York. I don't know that I actually love it now anymore. You know, I haven't gone back since, you know, we collected his things. So I know that leaving New York was really difficult because I just didn't want to leave him there. And I knew that I couldn't take him home with me that day, but it was hard, you know. So, but I just want to help another family avoid the tragedy that we went through, because I lived with him for 19 years and didn't know. I didn't know. He never said he was going to kill himself. He never said that. The one thing that he may have done that now that when you look back,
Of course.
you know, I would say, "Are you okay?" No. I said, "Well, you better get it right." I said, "You better get it right." You know, you just don't know. You don't know until you know. Like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, we don't just wake up and say, "Let me go see what they got going on today."
Right.
You know, we don't do that. You know, I didn't even know there was a website for that, you know, until after it happened. So, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what do we do before we get there, you know. So the film is actually, the 25-minute version includes 2 interviews with Black mental health professionals. You know, one lady, she said, "We learned about mental health the wrong way. Oh, she throw it off. Oh, he crazy. He two cars short of a deck." You know, we should have been learning how to cope with things and how to help each other, you know. So I'm hoping that we can do that, you know. So that's where I'm trying to get that longer version done so that I can fully explore everything that happened. And I do have some devices that need unlocking. I need hackers. So can y'all put the word out? I have a Toshiba laptop. I have a big desktop computer. I have his MacBook. Now I did get the MacBook hooked up to an iMac to do like an external hard drive, but they're locked. Some of them are locked.
Forget about Apple.
Oh yeah, I've already talked to him about that. Yeah. So, but I have phones. I have his phones that are still hooked to the email. So, a year after he passed, I realized there was a whole other email address on one of his phones. During the time that he wasn't speaking, he was having conversations with people, and was planning going back. I found out he was suicidal back in 2015. I didn't know. I didn't know. You know, so I'm still finding things out, and the story is still evolving. So got the shakes now, so I'm done.
Well, we thank you for telling it, and I'll say to everyone in the room in that regard, my recommendation to you: there are a couple of numbers that I keep programmed in my phone just in case. Poison control, suicide hotline. And if you live in Philadelphia, the Project Home hotline for when our temperatures dip too low and people need to get off the street.
All right. Okay.
There, you know, you might not think it will ever be a point where you'll use it, but you just never know. No, and having it right there handy is a big deal. So for all of you ladies, and then we'll really give you a chance to mingle. And
you want to talk with the audience.
Yeah, exactly, and to show your pieces again, as well. Fundraising. Now there are a number of people who understand that now that we are in the era of crowdfunding, that a lot of projects have become possible But crowdfunding response varies wildly. Not everybody is able to get $10, $20, $50,000 at the drop of a hat. And it's compacted by stories, of course, like we know here in Philadelphia with the homeless man colluding with other people to fraud people. So events like this are incredibly important because this is an honest sharing. We know you have work in progress because we see it.
You saw it. It's real. It's happening.
From each of your perspectives, talk about the reality of fundraising. And Yolanda, we'll start with you because you talked about foundation funding, which in Philadelphia is considerably more problematic than other cities because funding from foundations in Philly is largely institutional. Very little of the funding goes to the individuals. So you've successfully been able to write proposals to get funding from foundations. So what have you learned? What have you learned as a part of that process?
Share, baby.
Well, it was
filmmakers,
third time was the charm for me.
Right.
Third time.
Third time
Third
was the
time.
charm. With the
Yeah.
leeway, with the leeway.
I was going to say, and let me say, Ursula Rucker with Pennsylvania Council on the Arts or Pennsylvania Council on the Humanities, I believe it was, 7 times.
See that's crazy.
Well, the first time, was just like 2 months after he passed. And I turned this application, never did a proposal, never.
Right.
Well, the feedback, I should have brought my letters. The feedback that I got was, we definitely understand the project. We definitely understand how close you are, but how are you going to do it? Mind you, I wasn't a filmmaker.
Right.
I'd never filmed anything other than my kids at home. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to keep doing this. I finished my class, put another proposal in. So then they were like, oh, well, we're concerned that maybe you're too close to the project. I said, let me keep going doing what I'm doing. Turn the last one in. Now, the funny part about this was I had gotten weary. I was beaten down. I was tired. I was like, you know what? I don't know. So the letter came in the mail. I came home, and I gave it to my 26-year-old son, the one that was happy dancing at the microwave. And I said, listen, open this up. I said, if it's bad news, just put it back in the envelope and hand it to me. I'll look at it later. So I'm standing in the kitchen. He opened it up, and he looked at me. He closed it up and put it back in the envelope and handed it to me. I guess my face must have dropped so low that he could not keep up the front, He was like, okay, all right, I'm sorry. Look, Mom, just open it up now. I was like, okay. I started jumping up and down in the room. I ran straight from my kitchen to the living room. I said, oh my gosh, I need somebody to kiss. I need somebody to hug. Benjamin said, me. So that was how that happened. I was so ecstatic about that. And then I also got the first one was Nikki with Scribe.
Yeah.
The Film Scholars program kicked everything off. That was a year-long journey, learning everything that I could learn. I remember the first class we had was fundraising. I was like, I've not even touched the camera. Why are they teaching us fundraising? This don't make no darn sense. But I'll tell you, as I kept going through, certain things would click. Oh, that's why they okay, let me try to do this now. So once I got the 15-minute version done, got the leeway grant, and worked on the 25-minute version, I said, okay, well, if I want to put it in a festival, I need it to be color corrected and sound mixed and da-da-da-da-da-da. So again, Scribe offered the Philadelphia Independent Media Film Finishing Funds. And I was like, I guess I should try. The first time, the 15-minute version, I was like, oh no, I don't think I'm ready for all that. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But this time around, I said, maybe it's time for me to apply for that. And I got it. Yeah. So my film is, that 25-minute version now is in post-production, getting ready for the film festival. If we get in, hopefully
Mention Good Pitch.
Oh my. In December, I did Good Pitch Local Philadelphia. Good Pitch Local Philadelphia is sort of like this. It's a networking event where they bring media makers, organizers, and funders and people like that into the room. First of all, they put a call out for people to submit. Once you submit, they pick you. Now, what I didn't realize was when they call you in, that means you won already. Yep. You've won once you get to go in the room. So that was an awesome experience. About 17, when I take my glasses off, I can't see anything past here. So today I'm here today. So you see I have my glasses on. I'm checking everything out. But at good pitch, I had my glasses up here because I was very, very nervous, and I didn't want to look at anybody. So I just read my little paper, and then when I finished and they started clapping, I started seeing hands pop, pop. I said, put my glasses on and see what's going on. And 17 people stood up to offer support, you know. And one of the people was Glenn Halston, who has a connection with Fresh Fly Studios. And they were gracious enough to give me a full day of production with the whole crew. And a whole space at 7th and Callow Hill, the studio, above the Root Studio, that little area. So we had the whole big room and da-da-da-da-da. Awesome. I got 2 black mental health professionals, one man who I met, and when I met him, his t-shirt said, "This is what anxiety looks like." I said, then people started, I said, "I need you on my film." You know, and there was another woman named Shelley Lephart-Williams who, when I went to film at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's kickoff event for the Out of the Darkness walks, but she wasn't available. Fast forward to December, at Senator Vincent Hughes had, what was it? Breaking the silence on mental health or mental illness. Okay, and she was there. Unbeknownst to me, she had gone through breast cancer. And we, and she was like, "I'll do it." And 2 months later, she was in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, like I said, I'm not controlling any of this. I truly believe, you know, this is the first time I'm saying this out loud in front of a bunch of people, but I do believe that he is helping me make this film.
Yeah.
You know, I use his words in the film, and I guess he's guiding me, you know, so, but, yeah.
Persistence
Uh-huh.
and building on existing relationships.
Yep.
And for people who have not gone through the application process, when you get 1 grant, you can get 5.
There you go.
It takes the one who takes a chance on you
Yep.
for you to be able to put that in your proposal
Yep.
and
That's
show
right.
someone has already
Yep.
chosen to invest in me.
Yep.
And it makes it easier for the next foundation, for the next individual to say, well, if somebody
Yep.
took a chance, then I can take a chance as well. So it's a big deal. You've already given us part of the process, especially with Mr. Mousen funding Ulrich. But like I say, you've been on both sides of the camera, so you know the hustle of trying to get the gig in front of the camera, and the hustle of trying to get films made. So share, please.
I mean, I will say I wish I could pay people more.
That's
I wish-
number one. Yeah.
I wish I could
Yeah.
hire people at
Yeah.
industry rates. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a SAG actor. If I have a voiceover, oftentimes I'll do it myself, but I would love to hire somebody. I'd love to spread the wealth. In order to do that, I have to have some funding. You know, when you're building a film, when you're dreaming it up, they tell you have a dream budget and have a realistic budget.
Oh, yeah.
I have about 3 or 4 budgets for Ulrich.
Yep.
And so people say, like, well, how much is the
How
film?
much does it cost?
To do it the way I want to do it, it's
What?
almost $400,000. So I will say what we've been able to do, we've been able to go to New Orleans 3 times. We've gone to Haiti, we've gone to Kansas twice, once to film Edwidge Danticat, who you saw on there, and then once when Ulrich and Edwidge were there together. And so we did, I think Mr. Malson has been the sole giver, independent financer of this project. We've had maybe 15 other contributions, which have been significantly less. I have a leeway grant application in for Ulrich.
Yes.
But
Alright.
talking about,
I have one
like,
and 2 for Harriet.
absolutely, but for
Fingers
rejection,
crossed.
Leeway Foundation has a Transformation Award, which is a $15,000 unrestricted grant, which means you can use it for a new computer, which I need.
How many times have you applied for that grant?
I have applied for it twice.
I've applied
or 3
for it
times.
4 times.
I think,
4 or
yeah.
5 times. This will be my 6th.
So I will say my
No,
friend
what?
Hema, who is here, I applied for it the first time. I got right through to the 2nd round, and then I
Yep.
didn't make it. And they
Didn't
said
make
that they didn't hear my voice. And I don't know what that means.
What
And
is that?
a lot
Right,
of times I will
right.
tell you my frustration with grant funding. I just wish people would tell me what to write down. and I would tell them what they want to hear so they could give me the money so I could go on with doing it.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
It's not how it works.
Yeah.
But no, actually, that is how it works.
It's not how it works.
You call the foundation, they will tell you how to do your application. I did that with Pew for someone else's project, and Bill Bissell was interested in funding a book about Joan Myers Brown, and Brenda Dixon Gottschalk was going back and forth, and I just told her, listen, whatever he tells you to do, do it, because they want to give you the money. So sometimes they will tell you, I'm sorry, but it's true.
So,
Sometimes
you know,
they will.
toddler filmmaker, you know, experienced filmmaker. So don't listen to me.
No, but
I am
both
but-
can be true.
Yeah, so I will say, and Stephanie knows this, I've said this all the time, I am a destination person. I am not about the journey. A lot of times I have a lot of cuss words about the journey.
That's true. She's
My
not about the
journey
journey.
has
Yeah,
not been
She's like, are we there yet?
smooth or easy.
Nadine,
They
hurry
tell
up.
me the test is your test. My testimony is going to be off the chain. Off the chains. I will tell you while I'm here, Daphne Achin, am I saying that who is here is also a terrific grant writer.
Yes,
She has been
yes.
very successful. But I came to her one day and I wanted to share some information and some grants, and she took out this binder for her NEA. She had a binder that was about a 4-inch binder
Wow.
with all kinds of documentation from establishment people, and you know, and she didn't get it. So you hear these other people that don't get it. So what I will say is, Heidi Simon, who is a wonderful filmmaker, local filmmaker, said to me one time, because I was bitching and moaning, pardon my French, about how hard this is, how much this sucks, I just want to make my film. And she said, if you're not getting rejected, you're not in the game.
There you go.
So let me help you out. Let me just tell
Yes.
you, for those of you that want to do this, it is not about an easy yes. We are in the trenches. While we should be working on what our creative vision is and what the look and feel of the film should be, what I will be doing for the next few months is trying to raise some money so that we can get in here and edit this film. And people say, you got to keep working on it. I'm like, how do I pay my bills? How do I pay my rent? Like, how much of Tatiana do you think can actually go into raising funds and doing all
your
the
blood,
Yes.
your blood, pints
so-
go to the film.
I mean, the
Sorry.
reality is, yes, it can happen on a napkin. Mr. Molson, I hope you don't mind me telling this truth about our conversation. Okay, great. I will tell you, one of my favorite shows to watch for a long time was American Greed. I am a very honest person. I am not built for jail. I will tell you that. My kid knows. You better act right, because I'm an artist. I got jail money, not bail money. We live in the suburbs. Your friends whose parents are lawyers and stuff, they can get them out. You will be in until a family member can come with some bail money. So know that I got jail money, not bail money. So you better act right. So when I say American Greed is one of my favorite shows, it is not because I am trying to figure out how to fleece people, but I am fascinated how much money people will give on the strength of an idea, a conversation over beer on a napkin. And I was like, I gotta figure this out.
That's it. Yes.
Because you want me to spend 3 months writing a grant application so you can tell me no and tell me to do it again and do it again and do it again. I need to figure out how I can tell somebody something sweet and they're gonna write me a big check.
It's possible.
I think it's so what I will
possible.
say is I did not sweet talk Mr. Molson. I told him some authentic truths about myself, about what I wanted to do.
But you did it.
And I will say that if you honor your commitments, we said, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We brought it back. Every time Mr. Molson will give us a ride to the airport, on that ride back from the airport, we debrief. So it does not look traditional. We don't meet in a coffee shop. We don't meet here. If we're gonna go somewhere on the way back, you just know when you in that car with Mr. Molson, you better be doing that debrief.
That's right.
And he is a serial entrepreneur. So there are a lot of resources I can share with anybody where I started to learn some of the business
I'll
speak.
mention West Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia Financial Services Institution, they're our sponsor for the food.
that
So if
you
you're
have.
enjoying the food, they gave us the money.
That's her hookup. She made one phone call at our meeting.
Yeah, so money can happen.
One
It's not for
phone
my
call.
not
It was-
for. Yeah, I've been trying to get him to sponsor on the job with Lonnie Lou. So that hasn't worked yet.
But he did this. See,
Yes.
But it's
It's
happening
building.
for you.
So I will say,
It's happening for
Nadine
you.
is now is one of the newest. I can announce this is one of the newest producers on our film.
Yes,
And-
I am. Yes. It's going to get done this year. It's going to get done with your help. Please fund her film.
So
Fund her
what
film.
I will say, if you appreciate me at all, if you think I have been humorous, if you think that maybe I am kind, if you've enjoyed the food, or you would like me to stay around to raise this child, please be a brand ambassador. Please send some money, find some friends, because you heard what Nadine said, right? This film is going to get done
This year.
This year. And we are in almost May, and you can see Nadine doesn't let me finish a sentence. So for my sanity, my physical well-being,
Yes.
Nadine is going to ride me through the end of this year, whether we have money or not. And I keep pushing back, like, Nadine,
You're going to get
we
it
got to
done.
get some funding.
You're going to get it done. You will get funding.
Yes.
It's going to
So
happen.
yes. So it begins here. It begins
Yes.
with each individual. And when people are raising money and they say every dollar counts, if you have $1, give $1. If you've got 10, give 10. If 100's not gonna hurt, give 100. If you are part of an organization that would be an organizational partner and you can
Yes.
get them to give
Yes.
5,000 or 10,000, because we are trying to make the best films possible, we will make the films that we have the money for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told you, Ulrich should be a $400,000 film because my goal is to make the film as close to the quality of the work that he does.
Absolutely.
I can tell you right now, we will raise money so it doesn't look like 2 Post-its and some duct tape. So we're speaking truth. I just want to say.
Okay, for the people who haven't seen it, we're going to show it again. So
Yes.
you get a very high production value.
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
And just realize that, if you were in New York, your budget for that would be $800,000. But you're in Philadelphia, so the budget's going to be between $100,000 and $300,000.
Look at that. It's a bargain. No, she said 100. I'm 400. Yeah, it's a bargain.
It's a
400,000.
bargain, seriously.
Yes.
But that's the difference.
And for you, Nadine, and then we'll let you show the work and let everybody ask the questions they need to ask. Filmmaking for you is a family affair.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it
please,
is.
please,
Oh.
for those people in the room who may not understand the collaborative effort that goes on with you, explain how
So-
your films get made.
When I was a little girl, my mother would get films from the free library and get a projector on 16mm film and show them at my birthday parties. So I'm very used to these things, like at the age of 5 and 6, looking at cartoons in my living room on film.
All right.
Okay, that's my background. My mother also dragged me to the black film festivals that Albert Franklin had at Temple and at University of Pennsylvania. So when I was 11, 12, 13, I was looking at foreign language films like Haile Garima's Harvest 3000, in like another language,
Yes.
And so this was my early exposure. So at the time, she got a poster for the 75 Film Festival. There was a black man with an afro and a movie camera, and that poster hung in my kitchen for like 10 years.
Wow.
So subconsciously, she was developing a little filmmaker. She said, if I had known that poster was going to do that to you, I would have hung up a scientist or something. I did not intend for that to happen, okay? So I go to school. I want to be an astrophysicist when I'm in college because I love the stars and science. But then I flunk algebra first semester. Then I go into drama. I go to grad school at Westchester. I get a Master of Science in Instructional Media. When I finished grad school, I'm working on films. My mom says, why don't you make a documentary about Anna Russell Jones? She used to live around the corner from us on Smedley Street. And I'm like, and Anna Russell Jones was the first black woman textile designer in Philadelphia. She did designs for carpets, for wallpaper, for curtains in the 1920s, okay? And she sold her designs in Canada, San Francisco, New York, everywhere. And I'm like, well, Mom, I'll do the film as director.
Really?
if you, is this her calling me now? It is her.
Mom,
It's
Mom,
her
we on the
calling me
panel.
now.
Mom, we on the panels. Nadine's talking.
It's the vibration. Anyway, I said, I'll direct the film if you produce it. And that's what we started our collaboration. So, Mom, hi, you're on speakerphone.
It's the right moment. I am on Lyft on my way to 3801 Market.
Okay, so are you going to take Lyft home or should I pick you up tonight?
Lives in the neighborhood.
Okay, so this is great. So I was telling my origin story because Stephanie Renée asked how I got started working in cinema avec vous, mon cher maman. So so I was just telling that story, and of course you called because we are psychically connected like that. So have a wonderful time tonight. Please give Amy and Zoe my love.
I certainly will.
Give
Take
them
lots
our
of
love
pictures.
too.
Yes, and hi from Paris.
Hey, Miss Patterson.
He's one of my producer buddies, Paris Moore. Yay. Okay, take care, Mom. I love you.
We
Okay.
love you too, Mom.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Mom, Marlene.
See how that
Wow,
works.
that was so awesome. That was cool.
So Elijah is and Mama Marlene is right there like, what? You called?
What you say? What you say about me?
That's how you know you're in the right place, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right, Josh.
You know, but it's so what we do. I mean, so what I do, I feel like it's a calling.
Yeah.
I'm continuing the work of my father. My father was a part of the Black Arts Movement. He worked with Sonia Sanchez. He worked with Amir Baraka. His name is William Harvey Patterson. But nobody knows his name because he suffered from schizophrenia. He had a mental illness. And I never knew him. I never met him in my life. But I didn't know he was a director. I didn't know he was a poet until I was 18. So again, it's the ancestors calling us,
Yes.
talking
Absolutely.
to us.
Absolutely.
So we continue this work, you know, that we are just that we need to do
Yes.
as a community. It's very real. It's very, very real. And working with Sonia Sanchez, it's like I've come full circle. You know, I have come full circle. And the film also, I'm bringing in astronomy. I'm bringing in the stars.
Yeah.
So I get to have my two loves together.
All right.
You know? Astronomy and film and poetry and dance and it's a blessing. So what I do is a calling. It's a family calling, and it's very, very true. And I think if you have a son or daughter who wants to be an artist of any kind, support them. Help them get the training that they need. Help them make connections with people. Pick up the phone. Talk to your deacon at the church. Talk to your dentist. Somebody knows
Yes,
someone in whatever field they want to go into. Somebody you know knows somebody.
Yep.
But just like the Jewish people do, we have to hook up our children, our young people,
Absolutely.
our family, our friends, to make those connections.
Yes.
Because, as you said, it's a collective responsibility. It's a collective responsibility.
It really is.
It
And-
really, really
And
is.
people need to know that in addition to being your early influence and giving you all that exposure to the creativity, your mother is your consistent producer.
She is, even though she doesn't want to be right now. She just came back from Japan, right? From Japan, and you know, and she's trying to pass on the baton to somebody else. So maybe Paris will pick that up. Who knows? But and he's one of the executive producers along with Catalina on the Harriet Tubman Haiku project. And I worked with Paris before on a piece called Black Ninja, and he also worked with me on Lakeisha Ashley Franklin Jose Brown. But my mother, I mean, she's not just my producer because she's my mom, and because she knows how to write grants and proposals, and she knows about management and fiscal responsibility, and she used to gray hair, so people look at her and they say, okay, we trust you with the money. That's a big part of it.
Yes.
But as a producer, she has taste.
Yes.
Okay? She has discernment. She understands people. She'll say, I don't trust that person. You know, or okay, this is a good project, or no, Nadine, you have to go back and work on that script. This is not ready yet.
Gotcha.
You know, she has that quality of good taste that every good producer has. And I'm very blessed to have her as producer, because she's honest with me. If it's not good, she will tell me. I'm her daughter, but she's honest.
Yeah.
She is stone cold honest. If it don't work, she will tell me. She will tell any of you.
All right.
Let's see where you get it from, Nadine.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you all for your authenticity. I want to thank you all for sharing, because I'm swearing this, even though I've not had a conversation with everybody in this room. There is somebody in here who came today out of curiosity and who wants to do what you all are doing and didn't necessarily know how to approach it. And they're going to walk out of here today far more informed and inspired, because you all have been real with us and you're creating beautiful work. And so on behalf of the entire audience, I want to thank you for sharing with us today. And so we're going to get a chance to see these work samples again. And then we're going to give all of you.
Quick question. I thought this was a fundraiser. How are we supposed to raise funds?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have links to each of our individual websites. So
I have a card reader.
and she has a card and PayPal.
I am taking phone donations. If you got a credit card, you would like to make a donation.
Or
I got
cash or check.
Yes,
We have a
We
little
have-
thing to put stuff in. We have a little
Listen,
thing
we
to have those.
If you want to
Yeah.
write a check, write some cash. Don't write some cash. Give some cash. If you have a credit card, some of us can process credit cards. So after,
Split the money, or like how's it work?
Okay, guys, good.
so that was a good question. So we each have our own individual fundraising arms. So if we love each other, and whoever you want to give money to, you can give money to.
Please give money to these two ladies.
Oh, give money to
No,
them.
no, no, but no, seriously, because give money to them. Give money to
Wow.
them.
I know, right?
No, give money to them, because when you're starting as a filmmaker,
Wow.
and when you don't have a track record, when you don't have a track record, people don't believe you. They don't believe that you can do it, especially if you're a black woman. They don't believe you can do it. When my mother came back from a trip to Australia, visiting her friend Carol Johnston, went to Juilliard, and then in '72 went to Australia with a modern dance company, and went back in '75 to start an Aboriginal and Islander dance theater school. In '88, she came back and she said, Nadine, we got to do a film about Carol Johnson in Australia. No funder would give us any money because we didn't have any international production experience. We'd done Anna Russell Jones together, but we had no experience. They said, well, why are you doing a story in Australia? You're applying to the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts or Pennsylvania Humanities. Why are you? Y'all funded a documentary about an elephant who paints, so don't tell me. Get real. But that was okay. I said, we're going to do it anyway. My grandmother put up $5,000 for our production. My mother put up the next $5,000. Gail, Lloyd, Carlton Jones, Marlene Patterson, and myself, 4 black people, went to Australia, did this film. Okay? 3 little high 8 cameras. That film is gorgeous. $50,000 budget looks like $200,000 budget. I was in Australia for the first 2 weeks on my own, hooked up 21 interviews, 3 different cities. Okay. Came back, applied for another grant, didn't get it. Finally applied to the National Black Programming Consortium, got a $27,000 grant to get the film done. Okay. Fund their films first. Because if you don't have a track record, people don't give. They don't give to you. I'm going to get my money. I will get my money. I've already got some of my money, thanks to... Okay.
I'm sorry. I know this is not the Q&A, but y'all got me about to cry.
But give them the money.
Nadine, you are Harriet right now.
Yes.
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 I want to take a moment to just acknowledge you,
Yes.
the role you played
Yeah.
in this community. In my career, you were there when I first started, maybe you're AD and maybe you learned how to do it.
Yes, you do. My AD. Yes, you were.
And you've just been a staple in the Philadelphia community for filmmakers who are starting out and who don't know where to go. And I want to thank you. If there was an opportunity to do some kind of an award ceremony in this community, you would deserve that. So thank you for all you're doing. Yes.
And I have to say, and on that, I have to say that this evening would not have happened had it not been for Nadine. Nadine is the one that has the membership to this co-working space. She's been trying to get us to come in and give together to get an office space that could be shared so we could have an editing suite. And I was like, Nadine, I don't have any money to give to this. I would love to, but Nadine said, you know what, I will use my time. And on Wednesdays, we have been coming together to use this space. And then we said, let's fundraise together. And so Sisters in Film and Television Media.
More than a movement.
But it is not even a formation right now. It is an energy. It is being Harriet. So we can come together and raise money together. Yes, Joss.
And I just had one more thing. When you talk about people like Carlton Jones and Gail Lloyd.
Yes.
For me, when I think about kind of what is missing in the community, I'm gonna give all y'all some money, but it's not gonna be enough. And so when I think about, like, for me, I made 36 films on my own, shot, edited, directed, cut,
Yes, they are.
All right. Nah, you take that.
Yes.
Take that.
The problem is those films are not going anywhere because they are not shot by a Carlton Jones. You know what I mean? Or there are things that, because I did those myself, where my films are not in, traveling in festivals around the country, but I have a body of work that folks can Google, but what is that? When people are looking for the film to be shot in 4K, to have pristine sound quality, to be properly color corrected, you know what I mean? So what I'm interested in is if this particular collective can really help us focus. I don't know if it's Steph on the come up, that's gonna be our next Carlton Jones, or like who it is that can actually, because those are the things that cost the most.
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
We're trying to hire those DPs that cost, $1,200 a day.
A day.
So how can we get somebody like that in our community who will say, I'll work with you for $250, you know what I mean, so we can get this film done, and that way we can kind of cut these budgets and tell the story.
Yeah. Well, the people are in the room, have the skills. She's very, very good.
She is that person.
I'm also very good.
You're very good.
Paris
trying to say something.
I'm a secret person. But yes, Paris.
All right, I am a huge supporter of Nadine.
Huge.
I've known her for over 20 years.
20.
We've been friends along. She's like my sister.
Yeah,
Whenever I think of a film or a film project, if she's not busy doing something, because she does her thing, so she can't always work on my stuff, because she's always busy doing her thing, which is beautiful, which is wonderful. But if we can, we'll work together. But she's been in this city for over 20 years. She should be one of the top filmmakers in this city. She scares people.
Yes.
She walks in that door like, oh my God, it's Nadine Patterson.
Yes.
Because they know they're wrong. They know they should be supporting this woman. But everything is about elitism. Everything here is about who you know.
Yes.
Everything is about who you're connected with.
Yes.
But the thing that gets me, and I've always been an advocate this way, this is how I've always been, is that you know her. And how many people do you know? And how many people do they know?
Yep.
Today is a different world with all this media, the connection that we have. If 1,000 women and men, 10,000 women and men said, we support Nadine.
Yes.
What are you going to do? What do you think they're going to do? We always talk about money. It's not always about money. It's always about people power. Wealth, power, influence. I learned that living in Ghana with natives when they took me aside and talked to me and said, yo, man, let me tell you how things work when we do it, because you Americans are crazy. You black Americans are crazy because you're poor, broke, powerless, and alone. But we have wealth, power, and influence. If you don't have one, you can have the other.
That's right. That's right.
We can support Nadine.
Yes.
I know you love her. But I mean, if we somehow or another can say, you know what, this phenomenal filmmaker here, we got her back. How come you didn't write that grant for her?
Yes.
We want you to write a grant for her. Then you do that for her. Then you do that for you. You do that for me. The power that we have
Power of
understated as it may be, but it is there.
Yes.
And organizations like, is it Nexus? Is that what it is? Because I see that sign up there.
Mt Airy Nexus.
Mt Airy
yeah.
Nexus?
Mhm.
You think about this. You say, what do we have? One thing the other people have, the elite have, is they understand how to organize and use the resources they have and multiply it.
Right.
Okay? So let's say you get 1,000 people. Do we know 1,000 people altogether collectively?
Yes, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, do we? Can they put up $20 a month?
That'd be nice.
Then what do you do? The Nexus could show, we raise $20,000 a month. We like a loan for $1 million. That's business. That's how business people do things. Oh, we could pay you $10,000 a month back on the $1 million loan.
Yeah.
You show that after 6 or 7 months of that kind of consistency, then you hire this person and say, we're going to hire you to be our filmmaker for the year. Here's $150,000 for you. Would you be happy with $150,000? I don't know. I mean, she might, no, $300,000. I'm bad like that. Sister, you got it. You got $150. Get the rest. Okay. But my point is, then she could spend a week on you, then a week on you, and maybe a month on you, however that may be. We have power. I'm tired of asking other people for stuff. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
That's all I'm trying to say. These grants, is this, is that.
Yep.
When I won these awards, I won Sundance, and I got a chance to meet a lot of powerful people, and they said to me in my face, I'm not gonna give you a dime. I like you, I'm not gonna give you a dime. Why? Because you're not my son, you're not dating my daughter.
Right.
You're a man, I'm a guy, you're not a woman, not interested in sleeping with you. It's not about making movies. I can make movies any day I want to. Why
So
do I wanna make a movie with
he
you?
produced one of the producers on Kenya Rwanda.
Kenya Rwanda.
Good.
Great Kenya Rwanda, yeah.
So I realized that it's not about whether you got a great project, a wonderful project, that you deserve it and you all deserve it. It's about who you know, who you're connected with, and the favors you can do for them.
Right.
Yes.
But then I look at us and say, we do the same thing for each other. We can do favors for each other. We can help each other. So I think Nadine, ergo her connection with you guys, also deserve the help that you need. But as a group, there are ways that we can support Nadine, ergo that means myself too, by our voice, whether it's through Nexus. You have 1,000 people raising your hand saying, hey, we want you guys to give her a grant. You got 10,000 people saying that. You put it in the newspaper. You take a stand. You march. I don't know what it is you got to do, but those things don't cost any money.
Right.
And believe me, people will take notice of that.
Yeah.
And she deserves it.
Yes,
She's
she does.
awesome and amazing.
So really
wow.
quickly to answer Mike's question, Joss's question, can we all just really quickly talk about the funding platforms?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. So, okay. If you have your cell phones, if you type in, okay, you can take a picture. You take a picture, so you have all the URLs and all the contacts for all the filmmakers. Okay. And so Yolanda and I, we're running a month-long fundraiser. It goes until May 19th, which I didn't know the significance
Yeah,
of,
May
of
19th
that.
was 2016 was the day that Elijah left home, and she didn't know
I
that.
didn't know
when
that.
she said it. I was like,
I said it because it was Malcolm
Malcolm's birthday.
Yeah,
that's what I. That's
I was
what
like, Malcolm X's birthday, but I didn't know it was that connection. So we're each running a month-long fundraising campaign, but
So what's your site, just to be clear?
okay, so it is, so basically, my website, if you, hipcinema.net, it's all there, and I even have a splash page about today's event, so it has links to their info too. So if you go to hipcinema.net, hipcinema, that's my handle, on Instagram and Twitter, hipcinema, you can get information about everyone's information today, okay?
All right.
And then underneath that, for you,
I can
is
mine.
Ulrich.
Yes, so our website, I think was supposed to be up there, but it's ulrichduck.com.
Oh, I don't have your website.
It should have been, but it's ULRICK.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
in your email.
ulrichduck.com. So if you just look at the back end of that, there is a donate button. It'll take you to Allied Arts Foundation, which is our fiscal sponsor. So your donations can be tax deductible. I am also today able to process credit cards and debit cards. I have the little swipey thing. So if you do want to make a donation, you can meet me down by the food. Also, if you want to make one and you have like cash, we'll split it.
Yeah,
Yes. So
yeah.
if you just want to make, so I know some people just want to make one donation, we'll split it 3 ways.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. We can do, yes, we can do that. Absolutely. We'll put a
Thank
post
you
up.
for saying that.
Okay, and where's your money go?
We have a Indiegogo campaign going right now, and I can also do PayPal, Cash App.
So that answers how you could do today. We'll
And
make
there's
sure.
Yolanda.
Yes. So we will put that on we'll put that on all the social media, the Facebook, we have a SIFT, Instagram, and
Facebook,
Twitter.
yeah.
So we'll put all the ways that you
Facebook,
can.
Twitter, and,
Facebook, Twitter, because
and
I've got
Instagram.
Facebook, you've got Twitter, Steph's got Instagram. So it might be at different times, we don't have this coordinated thing yet, but we will get all of the information so you can push it out to friends, families, followers. We'll be here today.
And do we have permission to contact you again by email as we did for this event? Okay, so we'll send you links and update information, and we'll used to do our newsletters for our individual films as well.
Also, for ours, if you go to our website, you can sign up on the mailing list if you want to continue to follow the journey with our film.
Can I just ask, is this a collaboration specifically for this, or are you envisioning an organizational structure? Because there are those of us who are.
We knew that was coming, right?
Okay.
Can I take this one?
Yes, you
Can I
may.
take this one?
Take
Okay.
it
Go
away,
ahead.
Tatiana.
Yeah. So what I would like to say, right. So I want to take this moment to say, are there any other sisters in
Love
film
projects.
and media?
Raise your hand, first of all.
Actually, just stand up. If you are a sister,
Okay.
let's stand up. I would like the room to acknowledge and see you on the
Film and
clap.
television.
Listen,
Film and television.
yes.
That's right, that's
So
right.
when you are
Nikki
considering
Harmon.
where you can put your dollars,
That's
these
right.
are other artists
Yes.
who you can spend some money on.
Right.
Please
So
spend money on
get
them.
information. So we will have this. We will also try to promote. So ladies, if you will make sure you give us your information and send us through any of the sites. Your
I'll post it on
information.
lipcinema.net.
Okay, so
I'll
we
post
will,
it on
one of the,
my
okay, so you
website.
guys can sit down, but you all see places that you can give
Okay.
your money.
Yeah.
So what's next for us? Because we all have these projects, and this very organically happened, and I'm the one that was like, we're gonna get this question, and I would like to have an answer. And I'm the project management person in this group. So, what I want to tell you is this came together very organically and very quickly. So we know that there's a lot of excitement and energy around this, and we've heard from a lot of people who are not necessarily in the room how wonderful this is. We know some people would like to be the next 3 filmmakers featured. And I think that is a possibility. It is a collective, and it is a collective responsibility because, as we said, we have so much on our plates already. So I think there's a possibility of a conversation of who are the next 3 to host something. And it
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to be here. So there are a lot of ways that we can continue this more than a movement.
But
Hold on so I will say, I know Nadine, I'll hand off to you. You can't, let me finish this. So what's next? Leave your information with us. We want to powwow about it, and we will let you know. But I think that is the most authentic answer I can give you. I don't want to tell you that it's going to be a nonprofit, it's going to be a for-profit, we're going to do this next quarter. I can't make that promise. And I've told them I'm not committing to it, so if they want to make that promise.
No, I'm not making
So,
the promise.
I was just saying, this is the beginning of something beautiful. What it's gonna look like, how often it's gonna happen, I'm not sure yet, but if you leave your information with us and say, I'm in, I wanna be a part of this, let us know I wanna be a contributing part of it, or I just wanna be a beneficiary of it. That'll be helpful.
But just let you know, I wasn't suggesting organization. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I've run too many organizations, and I'm not nonprofit. I'm not suggesting that.
Oh, no.
The idea of collective, particularly as how we work as a people, looking at a way in which really to be part of it is sister energy is life, breathing. So this, so I thank you all.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, for as long as I have a membership here, I'm willing to work with Nexus and making this a space where Black women can have screening events. Because this is a wonderful, nice little informal screening area, and so I think I want to continue to do that. But whoever does it next, they put a lot of work into doing this. They work really, really hard. I just said, this is the space. This is the space. They got the food. They did the promotion. They got the blah, 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 blah. They worked hard on this, okay? So again, it's collective work and responsibility. That's what this is about. So, you know, and I am following Harriet's example. So, you know, I mean, we it's imperative. You can't do a film about Harriet Tubman and not also bring other people along.
There you go.
Okay. So that
was her
you know, so
thing.
the funders who support this project know that I'm going to be doing stuff to support other people on that journey. And they very graciously have said, okay, Nadine, we understand the vision. We understand how that's important. That's important. So, you know, so thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So we're going to show the films again.
So if you've seen it, there's still some food.
There's
Right?
still some
As long as they
food.
do it quietly so it doesn't disturb the
Yes.
screening, right?
Yes.
So we got two options, right? Or
We got two options.
yes, get some more food,
Get some more food.
move to the front and watch the screening.
That's right. And we can talk, and if you want to have conversations with people, there are
Move to
other
the back,
areas
yeah.
of the working space you can
Yes.
go to and have deep conversations and,
Yes.
and give donations
Yes.
and make all that kind of stuff happen.
If I can have my Facebook Live phone back, I can process it all. I don't know what is happening to social media, but thank you for
Thank you.
being
Thank you
here.
all for
We have
coming.
desserts,
Thank
but
you.
if you haven't had the food, there's still, I think, some patties, some meatballs. I don't know
Meatballs,
what's
there's
left,
stuff back there,
but there
yeah.
was tortellini meatballs, patties, cheese, meats. So if you,
Crackers,
I know some of you
yeah.
came in late.
I'm
If
so
you're gonna watch
hungry.
these, that's great. Get your plate real quick.
Get your plate.
Oh, Yolanda, you
5 minutes.
5 minute break.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much.